Welcome back to more discussing farm engage units. So yeah, last time we talked about all the units in the base game, and now we're going to be moving on to DLC. So I think for today's episode, I'm only going to be focusing on the 4 wins, because the next part will allow me to talk more about the DLC with the 2 main characters. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, like I said, today we're going to focus on the 4 wins, and because of their nature, yeah, I'm going to be spoiling a lot. I'm going to be spoiling, yeah, kind of what happens in the first Xenologue, and also, the main story too, because I think it's kind of important, so yeah. So with that out of the way, I think we should get started. So we're going to be starting off, I've always started with the leader of the groups when I've done this, so yeah, we're going to be starting off with the leader of the 4 wins. In Celestia. So yeah, Celestia of course is the opposite of Zephyr. But yeah, of course, she's still because she's on our side, yeah, that's definitely a good thing. So yeah, I'll talk about what she does in the Pearl Xenologue, and then I'll talk about what she does in the base game as a unit. So in the Pearl Xenologue, she's pretty decent. She always has some pretty good stats to work with, and of course her class is amazing because it flies and uses magic. And you've got access to some alright tomes too, so she does do quite well, especially on normal mode. On normal mode she can actually carry you quite hard. On hard mode things do become a lot more trickier for her, but yeah, she's a great unit to have around. Even as a guest, because yeah, the guests are a little bit hard to use, to be honest, so yeah. It's a good thing that, yeah, she's at least decent in that regard. So yeah, after you beat the Pearl Xenologue, then you get to use the main story where, yeah, she's pretty overpowered. Now, she does start at level 20 and is 2000 SP, so yeah. You're probably supposed to get her around the Soul Mark then, considering that SP. But yeah, you could get her before chapter 10 in fact. It's quite easy. I think around chapter 8 is good, because then you have access to all the emblems, and yeah, that can definitely help you out a lot in the Pearl Xenologue. So yeah. Of course, I wouldn't recommend doing that on hard, but on normal mode, it's very possible. So yeah. Yeah, here's the deal about her. She's pretty overpowered. One of the best units in the game, probably, especially because you can get her this early. So, she's very similar to Ivy, of course, because she flies and can use magic very well. She trades Staff Utility with Sword Access, which is kind of a good thing, kind of not, but we'll talk about it in a bit. And yeah, she has extremely good base stats, and her growth rates are probably better than Ivy's too. As a Melusine, she has 70 HP, 45 strength, 45 magic, 45 dex, 65 speed, 30 defense, 45 res, 30 luck, and 10 build. So basically she trades bulk and a little bit of magic for more strength and more speed. And the speed is quite a big difference. So yeah, she is going to have a much easier time double things when compared to Ivy, even if she doesn't hit us up. But yeah, she can still hit really hard though, because she has magic on her side. So yeah. She's pretty busted. I used her in my last playthrough when I had the DLC, and yeah, she was wrecking a lot of things. As a result, so yeah, this is actually a personal class, so we'll also talk about its class skill and a personal skill, obviously. Well, she always has a personal skill, but yeah, you get what I mean. But anyway, her personal skill is called, Friendly Boost. So when unit defeats a foe, grants hit plus 20 to allies within 2 stages for 1 turn. This is actually kind of nice, but it's very situational. Because, yeah, of course, the idea is that, yeah, you can use this to help out your other units, and yeah, the other wins do have problems with accuracy, so yeah, it's probably there to help them out, but yeah, again, I feel like it's a bit, niche because you have to be near someone and you have to defeat opponents. So yeah, that does mean that yeah, you have to bunch up with Celestia, and Celestia is pretty good on her own when she's flying around killing things. So yeah, a little bit hard skill to use, but it doesn't seem too bad. So yeah, it's just yeah, it's cool when it activates, but if it doesn't, well yeah, oh well. So that's just how it feels. So Now we'll talk about the class skill. Now here's the funny thing, the class skill is actually kind of bad actually. It's called Soul Blade, and what it does is that so yeah, like I said, her passive skill is Soul Blade. Zephyr did have this as a boss, but in your hands though, it's actually not a very good skill because here's what it does. When attacking with a sword, damage is calculated using the average of foe's defensive res. So this is going to need some explaining as to why it's not very good. So, even a hindrance in fact. So let's use two examples. You're using a sword that has 10 might and a tome that's 10 might. And the foe has 30 defense and 10 res. So if you use the sword and you have Soul Blade, that's going to average that out. So he has 30 defense and 10 res, so now the sword has, the sword is targeting him with 20 defense basically. So it is lowering his defense, but here's the problem though. The tome will do more damage because it's targeting his low 10 res. So yeah, and then we have the other problem with her. Another example, let's say you're using a 50 might 11 sword and you're using a regular sword against a foe with high res. So let's say 10 defense 30 res. So the 11 sword, again it has 15. I mean yeah, basically yeah, I'm just saying that they are the same length. So yeah, again it's the same. With the 11 sword it lowers basically the res to 20, but if you use a regular sword, it also averages to 20. So, because again, it's a regular sword. So, I was gonna say that it lowers the damage of the 11 sword, but in fact it's even worse. It lowers the damage of both your attacks. So, yeah, it'll do more damage than a tome, but yeah. Again, this skill, yeah, it's very weird, because you need to find ways to make this skill good, I think. And the main reason to do so is not just use a sword, a regular like silver sword or something. You need to use a weapon that does something that a tome cannot. Levered sword isn't the answer, tomes are better in most regards. Because yeah, if we use the high defense unit for example, the levered sword gets weaker than the tome. Because again, you're basically giving them more res. So your 11 sword's actually not good on her. You're probably better off using Bulgon, but she does have S rank in terms, so that's not a problem. And yeah, A rank is sword's that other thing. So yeah, what? So then, the swords you probably want to be using are something like Armor Slayers, because Armor Slayers will at least maybe out damage, because again, you'll do effective damage and you'll lower the defense, which is good. So yeah, you might actually do more damage than a turn, but again, I'm not so sure. It also depends on how you grow and what build you use, so yeah, there's that as well. And the other one's Brave Swords, because they could always use help in terms of damage, even if, again, you probably don't need it that much, because again, Tome is probably going to out-damage it, but yeah, again, it's a very, I wouldn't say it's a good skill, to be honest, not one you should be on, just, you know, focus on Tomes, I'd say. And yeah, it kind of sucks too that it lowers your damage against high res enemies if you're using a physical sword, so yeah, again, it kind of just forces her to use tomes more, which again, it's kind of a sad thing, but oh well. It didn't really hurt Zephyr that much, because again, Zephyr had a fixed inventory, so when you fought for her, so yeah, it didn't really matter that the skill could weaken her attacks at points, but yeah, of course, when you have weapons you can choose, yeah, that's when things get a little bit annoying. So yeah, despite being a really good unit, yeah, her class skill isn't that good, to be honest, so yeah. Again, it's very niche, and it only helps in some very specific circumstances, so yeah. But yeah, that's really all I got to say as far as unit. Despite that though, she's still overpowered, because again, really good base stats, amazing growth rates, and yeah, a really good class obviously, so yeah. Again, she's probably a stronger version of Ivy, and that's saying a lot, so yeah. Because Ivy was already pretty busted. But yeah, Celestia, yeah, Celestia's pretty busted too, because again, yeah, she's pretty, yeah, powerful as a result, so yeah. She's pretty powerful despite, you know, the classical not being that good. But anyway, um, for emblems, yeah, it's pretty basic stuff. You want to try boosting her damage, because again, with her growth rates, that's probably what she wants. So, something like Celica seems like a great choice, boosting both strength and magic, which is really cool. I could see Chrom being a lot of fun too, because you can boost your magic by engaging, which sounds really fun. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with it. Again, basically any magical emblem will do really well with her, obviously, but yeah, of course, she isn't beholden to that. You can obviously try using some swords with her if you really want. And again, if most of the time tomes are gonna be better, but yeah, sometimes yeah, you might get some fun out of using swords with her. But again, yeah, like I said, you're mostly gonna be doing tomes because again, the better because of her skills. So yeah. So yeah, I don't think I have much else to add. Let's talk about her character. Of course, like basically everything to do with the Felsian log, she's an opposite of the person in the real world. So, while Zephyr was a super cruel person, Celestia is a super kind person. But how she does it is kind of interesting, because yeah, it's pretty easy to tell in her supports that, yeah, the general gist is that while she does mean well, she does make a lot of mistakes. Like in the Veil support, she doesn't realize that, yeah, Veil is kind of traumatized by her because she looks like Sophia. That's also another common thing too. Yeah, she's the one that gets persecuted the most because of the person she looks like in the real world, because yeah, Zephyr is the leader of the Full Hounds, so it makes sense that she would be the target of that. But yeah, in the Veil support, she tries her best to help Lady Veil, but again, it doesn't work out too great because, again, Veil's kind of scared of her. But things do line up, and then Celestia talks about why she wants to help Veil specifically. And yeah, it's real that, yeah, she wants to owe Morvia, the Morvia in the Four Winds, a favor by probably, yeah, by protecting another Veil, because yeah, the Veil in the Felsian world did die, so yeah, again, this is kind of like an atonement of sorts, I guess. Which is pretty neat. Again, the death of Morvia in the Felsian log, yeah, definitely hit the Four Winds quite hard, so yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I did like that Veil support, to be honest, and yeah, I don't know, there's something kind of weird about, or kind of cool about her, like, wanting to tie Veil's hair and stuff like that, I don't know. She probably needs some help with her hair because of how long it is, so yeah, I guess it makes sense. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, most of the supports are pretty similar. Again, she wants to help people, but again, she does have a few difficulties. Like in the Yllir support, while she helps out Yllir a lot, she isn't really thinking about herself, and Yllir tries to fix that. I don't actually know much of the Yllir supports with the Four Winds, to be honest, but that's the only one I really remember very well, so yeah. And then I think I'll talk... Actually, no, we'll talk about the Gregory support now. I feel like I like the Gregory support because they actually seem to get along very well, unlike, you know, the Four Hounds, but anyway. But no, I don't really remember much other than that, but yeah, I remember liking that support because of that. And then there's the Nell support, where Nell suggests that Celestia try and make some friends. It proves very difficult for her because, again, she looks like Zephyr, but she pulls through. For Nell's sake, obviously, so yeah. Again, pretty cool stuff. Again, not too deep of a character, but I did like her rogue in the Felsian log. It wasn't bad, to be honest, and yeah. Again, she's a very busted unit, obviously. That also definitely helps out a lot. Even if, yeah, again, the personal or the class skill is a little bit, yeah, hard to use, let's just say. Because again, you need to get a little bit creative with it. And even then, most of the time, you're probably better off using a tome. Because again, most enemies in Farm Engage do have quite bad res, so yeah. That means that, yeah, tomes are going to be putting in the work. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, Celestia is extremely busted unit, one of the best units in the game, and yeah, it definitely shows that, yeah, the DLC power creep is quite real. So yeah. And yeah, I did enjoy using her in my playthrough too. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, she was the one with Celica, so yeah. Because again, I did like the idea of her boosting both her strength and magic with that, so yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Um, and of course, Celica's great for boosting damage of any magical units. So yeah, again, it definitely feels like those two were made for each other quite well. So yeah. I think that's enough about Celestia. Let's move on to the next unit. Let's now move on to Gregory. So Gregory is useful in 3 of the Felsian Look maps. I didn't mention what Celestia is doing, but yeah, before we use her, she was in charge of spying on Firene, because the Firene in the Felsian Log World wants to go to war against Brodia. And yeah, Gregory was in charge of spying on Brodia. But then he gets spotted and then we have to fight with him, so yeah. Again, like I said, he's playing with 3 maps. So the issue with him is that, yeah, again, his base stats are, or his stats in general, I guess you should say, because that's all you got working for you. Yeah, they're pretty lopsided. He has a lot of magic, but everything else about him is kind of bad. Especially accuracy, because his dex and luck are pretty bad, and you can't grave weapons in the Felsian Log. So yeah, basically it's kind of a painful experience, especially if you miss a lot. But at least he has the good staff rank, so he's very good at using fortified stuff. So that definitely helps a lot. And of course, yeah, you can give him Micaiah during this. He's not too bad with so yeah. Let's move on to the main story now. So I guess we'll start with his growth rates, because they do define his role quite well. And then I guess we'll talk about the base stats. So he has 55 HP, 30 strength, 80 magic, 25 dex, 25 speed, 35 defense, 80 res, 40 luck, and 5 build. Yeah, it's pretty obvious what this guy's all about. So yeah, and if you look at his base stats, it's pretty obvious too. He has a massive base, 25 magic, and 80% growth in it, so yeah. His res is also really good too. 25 base again, 80% growth. Everything else though is completely dumped. Except for like strength for some reason. He could have dumped that a lot more, but oh well. I guess it does open up maybe Mage Knight, but anyway. But yeah, as you can probably tell, yeah, he's a magical nuke and there isn't really much else than that. That does sound familiar though. He's basically like supposed to be a more extreme version of Citrine. He does have more magic than Citrine, but everything else is lower, and again, accuracy is a big problem with this dude, so you need to help him out. No matter what build you're using with him, make sure that he's using an accuracy engraved weapon, because otherwise it might be quite frustrating. You can also try Divine Pulse too, but again, I mean you can. He does have a 40 luck growth, which is good. His base 9 luck though isn't that great, but yeah, again, Divine Pulse could be something good for him. He probably doesn't need more damage, so yeah, helping him out with his hit rates and stuff can be nice. And of course, I guess, you could try, Sigurd's hit plus skills. Those could also be useful for a unit like this, so yeah. So there's like a few ways to use them. You can use them normally like I did in my playthrough. It wasn't really that great, to be honest. He like did a lot of damage, but that was really and he did help out the stars. I think he was my Micaiah user. Yes, he was actually, because normally it's Hortensia, but I made Hortensia Sage in that playthrough, so yeah. So she was using Byleth, and I think, yeah, Gregory was using Micaiah. Because again, he is pretty decent using Micaiah with his good magic stats, so yeah. That does factor into his staff accuracy, but again, if he doesn't have Divine Pulse, then yeah, you might have trouble with these stars, because he does need good dex and luck for that, and his dex needs a lot of help, so yeah. So there's that. Like I said, he did alright in this role. Again, he was using Micaiah, I guess, so it's not that bad that, yeah, he was only, you know, he wasn't like a killing machine or anything like that, because he got double reliably, but yeah, it was alright. Of course, because his stat growth is very similar to Citrine, you can obviously try and mimic the Vantage Reprisal build, or Great Thunder maybe, but yeah, Reprisal is obviously probably a bit better, so yeah. That's why I'm mentioning it here, so yeah, of course, you give him Veronica, you give him Vantage, you get into the Vantage range so you can get lots of reprisal damage, and yeah, because of his good magic stat, he should be able to one-shot everything with Foron. Again, though Foron's inaccurate on its own, so I highly recommend trying to increase the hit rate as best you can. So yeah, again, that's something I highly recommend doing with it, because you do not want to have bad accuracy with a Vantage build like that. But anyway. And then of course, You could try reclassing him too, but you're gonna need a lot of help if you're gonna make him a Mage Knight, because even though he'll have the damage, his speed is still gonna be quite low, so yeah. You probably want to use Lyn or something like that with a build like that, so yeah. And yeah, that's really it for magical classes, because the rest of the magical classes aren't super great, so yeah. This one has personal skill because it's kind of a strange one, to be honest. It's a kind of strange one, especially with his playstyle. It's called Survival Plan. When there are more foes than allies within 3 spaces, he gets 20 avoids. So that's kind of cool, I guess. But on a year like this, who has no speed, and his luck isn't super great either, and his defense isn't super great either, yeah. This feels like a risky skill. I've seen it help sometimes. He has dodged a few attacks with it. But yeah, this feels like a hard skill to actually like make good use of. You really need like to boost up his speed a lot so you can get better avoid. But again, I feel like that's a big gimmick. You could try it with the Mage Knight build, I guess, because again, Lyn's a good fit for something like that, but yeah. Again, yeah, seems a bit gimmicky. Again, I kind of wish that, yeah, his personal skill synergized better with his playstyle just nuking things, but that's okay. At least his classical spell harmony's not bad at that either, if you keep him a Mage Knight. Well, not Mage Knight, Sage, and of course Mage Knight's Chaos Style, which could be useful. But anyway. So that's him as a unit again, kind of a strange unit to be honest. But again, considering that, yeah, stat spread is similar to Citrine, and she has that really strong Vantage Reprisal build outside of Veronica, yeah, Gregory should be able to replicate it. Especially if, yeah, you do engrave the Forearm, which you very well should, so yeah. Overall, yeah, he seems alright, I guess. I don't really have much else to say as him as a unit. Because again, it's pretty basic what he wants to do. He wants to nuke things in magic, so yeah. So character-wise, yeah, he's the opposite of Gris. And while Gris is a very violent person who likes to get hurt, Gregory is the opposite, where he doesn't like violence and doesn't want to get hurt. Very simple stuff. This leads on to his Veil support, obviously. This one's a nice one too, to be honest, where, again, Veil's a little bit frightened because Gregory looks like Gris, but yeah, she quickly realizes that, yeah, Gregory's a much different person. Especially when Gregory was trying to make Veil feel more comfortable, like giving her some spicy food and eating it with her. Unfortunately, yeah, he doesn't really agree with the spicy food, and he passes out in the B support. But then, yeah, he continues to be nice to Veil, because again, he wants to be friends with Veil, and then it leads to a nice moment where Veil wants to get some food that Gris likes as well, so he can enjoy eating with her too. So yeah, I like that support. It was alright. It is kind of a sweet support, to be honest. So yeah, it definitely shows that, yeah, these two can definitely get along despite the trauma to begin with because of Gregory look like Gris. Again, I think that Zalessa's fault, I don't remember it very well, but I remember liking it at least. So I think it might have been because they have a much better relationship than they have a much better relationship than the Full Hounds counterparts. So yeah, that definitely made me like their relationship a bit more. It does seem like they care more about each other. I think the Morpheus support's interesting because again, Gregory again, he does miss the Morphia of his world. And yeah, of course, the Morphia in this world, in our world, does remind Gris a lot. I think that's how it goes. I think they also do talk about the fact that I think Gregory is like the second command, or even in the command. I think it used to be that Morphia was the leader, but then either Celestia or Gregory was made the leader instead, so yeah. I think that's where the conversation gets interesting. I don't remember the spell very well, but I do remember liking that one at least. Because again, it isn't just, you know, he doesn't like violence and stuff. I think another thing I like about him, this might have been in the list support, but he also likes, like soft things too. Like I think he likes stuffed toys and stuff and making them, I think. It's pretty nice stuff. So yeah, another thing I think I remember about too is his backstory. I didn't actually talk about Celestia's backstory, but I think I can. Basically, I think her village was destroyed by Sombron in her world, obviously, and yeah, she has a grudge against Sombron as a result, and then Gregory, yeah, he used to worship the Fell Tracker, but then he ran away after how painful it looks, so yeah. That's how he became one of the Fallen, so yeah. I think that's how it goes. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not super familiar with these characters because I've only seen them in like 2 playthroughs or something like that. One for my brother, one for myself, so yeah. I definitely still have a lot to learn about them, but that's okay. That's what this series is for anyway. I did say in the description that, yeah, feel free to teach me anything I may have missed, so yeah. Of course, it's fine that I don't know everything because, again, I can get help with that. So yeah. So that's really it for Gregory and all I have to say about him. Yeah, pretty simple stuff to be honest. A very simple to understand unit, even if it's a little bit frustrating to use at points, but hey. Again, I do like... I do kind of like the idea around him. I kind of just wish he went all in on offense, to be honest. Like, yeah, like no like defense or res and all in on magic and seed. That would have been a lot of fun, but oh well. Maybe a bit too overpowered though, but yeah. That's okay, I don't mind too much that he's the way he is, because again, even if it is very similar to Citrine, again, and then, like I said, his character is actually pretty solid, to be honest. I did kind of miss how violent Gris was, because Gris is definitely one of the more entertaining Full Hound members. But hey, he does his role quite well, to be honest, so yeah, I can't really hate this dude. I think he's alright, to be honest. And yeah, I'm interested to learn more about him too, because yeah, the little I know about him already is kind of good, so yeah. And again, I'm willing to learn more as well, because again, he could end up being a very intriguing unit as a result, so yeah. Again though, yeah, I did try using him last server, he wasn't like impressing me too much, but hey. It is probably because again, I didn't like go all in with like that Vantage build that my brother uses Citrine. I kinda wish I did, but that's okay. Maybe I can do it another time. But yeah, that's Gris, well not Gris, Gregory. Or Greg as I like to call him. Yeah, like I said, that's really all I got to say about him right now. So yeah, let's move on to the last unit for today. Our last unit today is going to be Madeline. So Madeline actually, to be honest, kind of shocked me, to be honest. She'll be an interesting unit to talk about actually, but anyway. She has it extremely rough for the Phil Xenologue. Only available in 2 of the 6 maps. And she completely underperforms in all of them, to be honest. Not because her stats are bad, but because of her accuracy. Because again, you're basically forced into Silver Axes and Tomahawks, neither of which have good accuracy, and actually is not something she's good at. So yeah, 9 times, or not really 9 times out of 10. It's more like, I guess you can go over like her hit rates. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, most of the time she's hitting with... She mostly has like 60 or 70 hit or something. It's pretty bad. So, yeah, she needs a lot of help. Unfortunately, the Phil Xenologue really can't help her with that. But yeah, what she does in the bot though is alright, I guess. She's helping Morvia because Morvia scouted her as a knight, and was taught by Morvia too, the Morvia of that world obviously. And yeah, she was helping Morvia spy on Elucia and Solm, who do end up fighting in the 4th map. I guess chapter 4 also works, but anyway. But of course things take a turn worse when a plot twist happens, and you go on to the 5th map. And yeah, the 5th map is quite important because at the end of it, Morvia sacrifices herself by warping the other members out. And yeah, this hurts Madeline a lot because I think Madeline had feelings for Morvia too. So yeah, I think another thing too, I think from a backstory too, I think her parents are also knights, but they probably died, so yeah. Again, I'm not 100% sure about that backstory, but I feel like it sounds familiar. And then yeah, she can help you on the last step, but again, she has accuracy issues. But of course, after that though, you can use in the main game, and things will be slightly better. Again, we'll go with the growth rates first, because again, this should give us a good idea of what this unit's all about. She has 100 HP, 70 strength, 20 magic, 25 dex, 15 speed, 85 defense, 25 res, 25 luck, and 20 build. She's the extreme version of Louis, and also a pre-promote version of Louis. So she actually has some pretty good base stats. 24 strength and 27 defense, yeah, and 13 build. So, and 46 HP. So yeah, she's extremely tanky, and she's going to continue to be extremely tanky. So, the catch though, yeah, she ain't doubling anything. So we're going to sort that out. Or of course, you can go for one-shots too with Grey Axes. But of course, another problem is the accuracy, which again, it's quite bad. But luckily though, in the main game, that's a lot easier to fix because of Engraves. She still might have some problems hitting things, but yeah. We can also, there are definitely other ways to solve accuracy too, which we'll go over in a bit, so yeah. Yeah, this unit, yeah, she definitely needs a little bit of help to get going. I don't think she's as easy to use as Louis, because I feel like Louis doesn't suffer as much from bad accuracy, probably because he uses lances over axes, but yeah. Again though, I feel like, yeah, we can definitely try to fix her up. So there are a couple of ways, obviously. I guess we'll go with the personal skill first, because, yeah, there is some interesting things about her. That personal skill is Knightly Code. If foe initiates combat and unit is adjacent to an ally, unit takes 2 less damage. So here's the interesting thing with this build. It kind of stacks up with Great Knight's allied defense. This personal skill says if unit is between an ally and a foe, reduces damage to unit by 3 during combat. So you can stack this up and she can reduce damage by quite a bit. Of course though, that means recast her Great Knight, which to be honest though, that's not a bad thing. Again, I did say I do like Great Knight over General. I can definitely see the appeal of General on her because you will have the DLC. So Hector, of course, is an interesting choice, which I'll go over. But there is one good thing about Great Knight, and it's the fact that, again, it's kind of like with Louis. You won't sacrifice too much of her strong stats by going it. And also, you can help out her other stats, like Dex, and also the secondary weapon type. You could give her, like, swords, to give her a much more accurate other weapon to use than the axes. So again, that could be a way to help fix up her Dex. So yeah. Again, that's something important to remember when, think about reclassing it. But again, yeah, you can obviously make it General. If you do that, then, I mean, for both Great Knight and General, Hector becomes a very good option because, Quick Riposte. She has extremely bad speed, so, if she's, especially with the bad accuracy too, because yeah, if you try to go for a one-shot you miss, then yeah, you're not doing anything. So at least a Quick Riposte, you don't always have to go for one-shots of Great Axes. Instead, you can go for like a Silver Axe and get the QR to make sure that yeah, even if you like miss one attack, you might hit the next attack and then yeah, you'll help out. Of course, one cool thing about her being so slow and also the fact that she has QR, if you do decide to give her Hector or pass the skill down, she'll actually get into lots of rounds of combat, so recharging up Hector or whatever emblem you have equipped is very possible, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, if you do go the Great Knight route, I can definitely see Sigurd being a lot of fun as well. Of course, then if you do that, you may want to consider Lances, but again, I think Swords might be the best secondary weapon type if you decide to go the Great Knight route, because again, the accuracy definitely can help it. So yeah. Other than that though, I'm not so sure what other emblems super work with her. Again, armored units don't get much outside of maybe Tiki, who, yeah, Tiki is pretty cool with armored units. Ike is also kind of cool, and she can use axes obviously. And you can have some fun with like QR and stuff in that build. Again, QR does help glue things together because again, if you pass the skill down, because again, she will be able to keep it working as long as you avoid magic, like the plague. So she'll stay in the range, and then that means like lots of rounds of combat. She can charge up whatever emblem you give her to. I wouldn't really recommend speed builds because again, her speed is so bad. So I feel like it's kind of difficult to redeem, but hey, Speed Taker is a skill in this game, so who knows? Maybe you can redeem it. You probably want to go Great Knight in that case, so yeah. I am definitely suggesting all the armor classes because again, they do make a lot of sense with her stat build, so yeah. But of course, what if you wanted to balance her out? My brother tried doing this by making her a thief. I think he wanted to go Wolf Knight, but he doesn't like what Wolf Knights look like, so yeah, thief. And she was alright, to be honest. Again, using Hector is pretty cool because, again, she can make good use of Hector's strengths. It was a pretty fun build. Not like super amazing or anything like that, but it was alright. She does look kind of weird as a thief though, but yeah. That's the only time I've seen someone use her, so yeah, that's a little weird, but anyway. But yeah, I am interested in trying her out myself, but at this current time, I feel like I'm more interested to give Louis a shot, to be honest. But hey, she does seem interesting in her own right, especially character-wise, which yeah, I think we're gonna go over right now. So yeah, I think what makes me like Madeline is that it actually really helps out Marnie. Because again, she's the opposite of Marnie, but they do this in a very interesting way. Of course, unlike Marnie, she doesn't like being praised all the time. She's a lot more of a humble person as a result, so yeah. And also, yeah, she speaks in a much more polite manner when compared to Marnie too, so yeah. So yeah, what's her deal then? So, and why do I feel like she helps out Marnie? So, if you don't know, or, I mean, yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm gonna spoil the main plot, and here's why. So, remember that Marnie dies in the main game, and this actually is quite important. Let's go with the Veil spot first. So yeah, Veil, yeah, of course, she's reminded of Madeline, and then the fact that, yeah, Madeline not only is very different from Marnie because she doesn't like praise, but yeah, again, Veil gets reminded of her, and yeah, she feels really sad because there's a lot of regret going on because she was mind controlled with the crown, she didn't know what Marnie's last words were or how she felt as well until Morvia presumably told her after the map. And yeah, I felt like there was some regret going on. But yeah, things do get quite interesting though because yeah, Madeline tells Veil what Marnie could have said, or what yeah, Marnie did say when she was about to die. That was in the A support. And then yeah, that made Veil tear up again, but I was happy tears this time because yeah, she finally got to know the last words of someone she actually really cared about because yeah, Marnie was loyal to Veil all along, just like Morvia was. You never get, she didn't really show it that well, but oh well. It is what it is. But yeah, like I said, I did like that Veil support a lot. The Morpheus support is also good. Basically, they're actually in a very similar spot where they both lost someone they cared about a lot. In the real Morpheus case, it was, well, not the real Morpheus, the Morpheus of our world. He lost Marnie, obviously, and he actually blames himself for her dying as well. Which, yeah, again, that goes to show like there's a lot of regret going on there as well. And then on the Madeline side, of course, she also regrets losing the Morpheus of her world and not being able to do anything about it as well. So yeah, and yeah, they kind of bond over that too. And yeah, like I said, it's a very interesting plot, that one too. Although I don't really remember much about her. I remember that she has like a fear of insects or something. It might have been in their support, but yeah. Like I said, the serious side to her support, I feel like is very well done, to be honest. And yeah, like I said, she actually makes Marnie seem a lot more interesting with her death and stuff. Now it feels a little bit less contrived, because again, I did have my problems with it because of, I did have problems with Marnie's death, because again, we kind of just learnt about her backstory and that was it. But yeah, here they kind of flesh out the impact that Marnie had, because yeah, we didn't really get to see that too much. It kind of just felt like, yeah, Veil and Morvia moved on from it. But yeah, as you can tell from the support though, no. Not really, so yeah. Again, that made Madeline pretty cool character because of that. She definitely helps out Marnie out quite a bit, despite the fact that, you know, Marnie's dead very much. So yeah, I think that's a good spot to end on, to be honest, because again, I don't really have much else to say about her because I'm not too familiar with the other sports, but yeah, again, that's a chance to learn, obviously, because again, that's kind of why, that's one reason why I made this series, so yeah. So that's Madeline. So yeah, overall, I did like the idea behind the character, to be honest. I mean, yeah, her design looked incredibly lazy, the fact that she just body but blue, but hey. Like I said though, the fact that, yeah, they did they used her to show off the effect that Marnie's death had on Veil and Morpheus, that was really cool. And yeah, Again, she's kind of weird as a unit. Because yeah, she really goes all in on the armored role, kind of like Louis, but again, Louis is probably a little bit less you know, accuracy. Probably doesn't have as bad results in accuracy, but yeah. Of course, I did mention ways you can help her. Of course, definitely give her a forged and good engraved axe. That definitely helps. And of course, maybe making her a Green Knight, so you have access to a more reliable secondary weapon. She kinda looks cool as a Green Knight too, to be honest, but yeah. That's really all I gotta say about the wins. So yeah. Like I said, the wins are alright, to be honest. Of course, the main stars of the show are Nell and Nil in the Philzine log because they're the main characters, but these three, they're not too bad, to be honest. Yeah, sure, Warrior's death was kind of weird to see it the first time, but I don't know. They definitely played it quite interestingly because, yeah, these three want to carry on despite, you know, the world, in their world basically being all in ruins and stuff. And yeah, moving on from Morvis too, I think that's another important thing about these three as well, so yeah. And yeah, like I said, they're kind of basic as units, to be honest. They do feel very similar to other units. Probably because, again, they don't really, not all of them as a new class, only Celestia does. But even then, it's quite similar to Ivy's class, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, like I said though, I don't really hate these units either, to be honest. It's just that, yeah, I feel like I still have a bit to learn about them. But from what I can tell though, there's some interesting bases. And they don't just feel like lazy opposite day kind of gimmicks. It can feel like that sometimes. The supports do feel a little samey at points, but the contents in them though does intrigue me enough, I feel like. So yeah, there is that at least. So yeah, overall I do like the wins, but of course I've got a lot more interesting things to talk about when we go to the next part. In the next part we're going to be talking about Nell and Nil, and we're going to be basically rounding up this series for now, so yeah. Ooh, I can't wait. And yeah, I'm probably going to be talking about a lot about the Philzine log in the next part too. What it did good, less what it did bad, because that's mostly gameplay stuff, but yeah, I will be mentioning it from time to time, so yeah. You have been warned, I guess. So yeah, look forward to that, and I'll see you guys again for that.